It's funny how quickly things can change in the NBA. Just yesterday after the draft, it was reported that the Charlotte Hornets were listening to offers on LaMelo Ball, and at that time, Shams said that the deal can go down in the next 24 to 48 hours. Well, less than 12 hours after that, LaMelo Ball is officially now on his way to the Minnesota Timberwolves, as the Charlotte Hornets have traded him and Josh Green to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Is this enough? Is this exactly what Anthony Edwards was asking the Timberwolves to do when he said that he wanted them to improve the roster? We're going to talk about the deal and all right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball and NBA related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And the Charlotte Hornets are officially trading their star point guard, LaMelo Ball, along with Josh Green, to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps in 28, 29, and 30, and 3 second-round picks in 29, 32, and 33. This comes from Shams. This is a big trade for a player that is exactly what the Minnesota Timberwolves needed. They needed an additional half-court creator and shooter and scorer to go next to Anthony Edwards. And now he comes in and forms a really good, powerful guard trio of him at the LaMelo Ball at the 1, Anthony Edwards at the 2, and then you have Ayo Dosunmu coming in as the first guard off the bench, who they just paid over $20 million to be able to retain as well. This is a really good trade to get everything that the Minnesota Timberwolves were really looking for. Now, there are some questions as far as fit. LaMelo Ball, last year was probably the biggest step that LaMelo made as a player playing winning basketball. And, that came with Nipple coming to that team. They've taken the ball out of LaMelo's hands a little bit, and he grew with that for sure. And now he's going to a situation with a leader like Anthony Edwards, a coach like Chris Finch, that are going to try to push him to be what he can be. Like, LaMelo was still an absolutely potent scorer. 20 points per game last year, 4.8 rebounds on 48% shooting from the field, also 7.1 assists to go along with 1.2 steals, and only 2.8 turnovers per game with that. He's a career 36.5 three-point shooter, so he can space the floor for this team as well. And the efficiency could go up playing with a player like Anthony Edwards. I love this move for the Minnesota Timberwolves and for LaMelo Ball, for that matter. I think that they got exactly what they want. Now, the flip side of this is that you look at this and say, is this enough? Did they win this trade? And I think the Minnesota Timberwolves absolutely did, right? They had to do this trade. Anthony Edwards needed another elite creator. LaMelo Ball instantly raises this team's offensive ceiling as a whole as well. And Minnesota now has one of the most exciting guard pairings in the starting and as the first reserve in the entirety of the NBA. This signals that the Wolves are done waiting. They are trying to win right now. And I can't be mad at a team that's trying to do that. Josh Green is going to add some useful wing depth to this team that you just can't overlook as well, that I think works. And I think that this is a gamble a little bit. Like, we know that LaMelo and the health risk and the history there is a question. LaMelo gave up Minnesota gave up just about all the draft capital that they could give up. And now losing Julius Randle and Naz Reid is a major shift to the identity and the depth of the front court that they had. And that's what you have to go to. Now, LaMelo and Ant both need the ball, but I think that Ant's growth as a shooter as well, they're going to find a way to make this pairing. Yes, this looks like an explosive duo, and I think it's going to be a balance that they can strike and find their balance on. On paper, this is an absolutely fireworks pairing. And I think when you start looking at the health and the defense and the money, the future flexibility, it gets a little complicated, but I think that is complications that the Minnesota Timberwolves are willing to take on, and they should be willing to take on when it comes down to it. But the next question is, did Charlotte get enough for a player like LaMelo? So in this, the Charlotte Hornets got Naz Reid, who is a proven front court piece, no doubt about it. They added a unprotected first-round pick and multiple pick swaps. Now, if the Minnesota Timberwolves and this trade works out for them, then pick swaps are probably not going to be extremely valuable. But I do think now you can fully build this roster around Brandon Miller, Nipple. You got some draft picks in this draft as well that you of course want to continue to develop and look at. I think that's what makes sense for this team as things stand right now. Like, you got that, but you didn't get that piece that you look at and you're like, it's wholeheartedly just right up there with LaMelo Ball. Christian Anderson, who you just drafted as well, is going to have, definitely some time. You could also flip Miles Bridges. It'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with him in this one. So I think that, yeah, they got some pieces for the right reset, right? But they didn't get that home run piece, right? I think that LaMelo is still a star level talent. You didn't get that back in this one. You didn't get a blue chip centerpiece in this at all. But maybe the clarity that you've moved in with your roster and how you freed up your roster build is going to be there. They got assets. There's no doubt about it that they got assets. But when you trade the most talented player in your building and your star, the question is simple. Did you get anything that changes your franchise in return? And you didn't. But then let's shift back to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Is LaMelo plus Ant the perfect fit? Or is this going to be a future problem? I think that it's going to be a really good fit. I think LaMelo's passing is going to take pressure off Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards has grown as a passer and as a shooter. I think now you are also going to allow Anthony Edwards to attack more and catch and shoots and other things as far as in advanced situations. Minnesota becomes faster. They become more dynamic. They become harder to guard. I think that's there. Now, as far as the future problem of it is, both these guys are very high usage guards. Defensive matchups can start becoming an issue for these guys a little bit. Late game possessions, are they gonna find their balance there? But overall, I think that this is a good move for them. I think that they are moving in the right direction and finding the right balance. This is either going to be a backcourt that unlocks the Minnesota's championship window truly, or a move that people look back on and say, maybe they got a little too aggressive earlier than what they really needed to. And that's the thing that it could come back and bite them on in this one. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in that. I'm again, not counting it out. I actually like the pairing. I like the fit. I like the aggressive moves from the Minnesota Timberwolves in regards to this. I like all of that. It just comes down to, is this the right move at the right time? And if it is, then great. Like, hey, you needed to make it. Like, when your star starts making questions about the talent on the roster and stuff like that, you got to make an aggressive move. And they made an aggressive move now and got a super talented player that brings so much of the raw skill set that they need. Now they just got to find it and balance it out. I also think now the Minnesota Timberwolves have to find more front court depth. Now, are they going to do that in the trade market? Are they going to do that for other players? They could very well be that. And they have a big need for that. So we'll see what they can do there, because there is some questions now in the front court, which was such a good front court rotation with Naz Reid, Julius Randle, and Rudy Gobert. So now what do you do there, right? Are they going to be in on another big move? Are they going to make some marginal moves for that? We'll end up seeing. But I think overall, like the Minnesota Timberwolves, I applaud the aggression that they went at this with, and they found this with, because you needed that. And so I like this move in that case. I think that they've made some really good and smart moves going forward now. And now we got to see what's going to happen. The other odd bit of news in this is that Al Horford has signed a new 2-year deal to stay with the Golden State Warriors. This is a guy that he's opting out to sign a 2-year, $14 million deal. We know that he fits the Warriors system. He fits their play style. He fits the whole wild hog things that, it is what it is with that one. And, this is the Golden State Warriors just keeping a veteran piece around for a couple of more years. He's going to be entering year 20, so, you're not looking at him do too much, but you're just looking at where his strengths are and how they overline and overlap and help this team win. With the Warriors, getting Yaxel Lindenberg, they're also going to be adding another front court piece that can absolutely help with what they want to do. And so keeping Al Horford around as a veteran piece, I think, is a smart option for them. But that's it. I just wanted to bring this quick because this is such a major trade. We'll have a more detailed episode coming out later. Let me know your guys' thoughts. What do you think this does for the Minnesota Timberwolves? Are you happy? Do you think this keeps their championship window open? Or do you think this could be a bit of a balancing act that may not work out the way that they hope it's going to work out? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Let me know what you guys think on the Al Horford trade. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything basketball and NBA related. And I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably today, actually. Peace, y'all.
Been a presentation of the Breaks Media.